Have you ever stood in front of your fridge, hand on the door, wondering what to eat? Not just to fill your stomach, but to actually fuel the rest of your life? Maybe your doctors mentioned cholesterol, or your knees remind you after every walk that time is passing faster than your body would like. But deep down, you still want to wake up feeling steady, clear-headed, and strong enough to do what you love, whether that's gardening, dancing, or just walking without pain. Now here's the good news. Your future self isn't built by fancy treatments or extreme routines. It's built by the foods you choose, every single day. Simple choices that help your body repair instead of just survive. In this video, we'll talk about 7 nutrient-rich foods that support healthy aging, reduce inflammation, and even trigger your body's natural cleanup system called autophagy. A fancy word, but don't worry, we'll break it down together. Stick with me to the end because what you'll learn could mean the difference between a sluggish next decade or a decade full of energy, clarity, and freedom. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you don't miss any of our weekly tips on aging wisely and joyfully. Your support means everything, not just to me, but to this community of thoughtful, strong, and beautiful people who believe that growing older should be celebrated, not feared. And if something here helps you, please like the video, share it with a friend, and leave a comment telling us what topic you'd love us to cover next. All right, let's start where nearly every long-living culture on Earth does, with leafy greens. Now I know what you're thinking. Salad again? But leafy greens are more than just side dishes. They're powerhouses. Spinach, kale, collards, arugula. They're loaded with folate, vitamin K, and antioxidants that help protect your brain, your heart, and your bones. Some studies have even linked daily leafy greens to a slower rate of cognitive decline, almost like feeding your memory every time you eat them. Try tossing a handful into your eggs, blending some in a smoothie, or just drizzling olive oil and lemon over a bowl and calling it lunch. The more variety, the better. And your body, it knows the difference. Which brings us to something even more unexpected. Fermented foods. Think sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, yogurt. These aren't just tangy sides. They're medicine for your gut. And your gut? It's deeply connected to your brain, your mood, even your immune system. As we age, digestion can slow, and absorption gets weaker. But fermented foods help bring balance back. They feed the good bacteria that keep inflammation down and energy up. Just a spoonful with dinner, or a small cup of yogurt with breakfast, can gently shift the way your whole body feels over time. Now let's talk about something you probably already have in your pantry. Whole grains. Oats, quinoa, brown rice. These aren't just carbs. They're steady energy. Unlike sugary cereals or white bread, whole grains break down slowly, keeping your blood sugar stable and your mind sharp. And they're rich in fiber, which helps digestion and even lowers your risk for heart disease. Try swapping just one meal a day. Maybe a bowl of oats instead of toast in the morning, or quinoa in place of pasta at dinner. Small swaps like this, they add up. Now that we've started building the foundation of your longevity kitchen, let's keep going deeper. Because the next foods we'll talk about might just be the reason people in the world's blue zones live so long, with clear minds and strong hearts, well into their 90s. If you've ever stood in a Mediterranean kitchen, you've likely caught the rich aroma of something gently sizzling in olive oil. Not butter, not margarine. Just that golden, silky liquid that's been a staple for centuries. Olive oil isn't just a cooking ingredient, it's a daily ritual of health. Packed with monounsaturated fats and antioxidants, this humble oil does wonders for your heart, your joints, and even your brain. In fact, some studies link regular olive oil use to reduced risk of Alzheimer's and stroke. Drizzle it on roasted veggies, use it instead of salad dressings loaded with sugar, or even take a teaspoon straight in the morning, like a quiet little promise you're making to your future self. And let's not forget something that almost feels like a treat. Nuts and seeds. Almonds, walnuts, flax seeds, chia. These tiny treasures are loaded with omega-3s, protein, fiber, and minerals like magnesium and selenium. But what makes them especially powerful after 60 is how they support your brain and fight inflammation. Two big players in how we age. Just a small handful a day can help reduce bad cholesterol, stabilize mood, and even keep your skin looking vibrant. Try them as a snack instead of reaching for chips, or sprinkle them on top of your breakfast bowl for a satisfying crunch. They're nature's version of a multivitamin, only tastier. Now picture this: a big warm bowl of beans. Lentils, chickpeas, black beans, they've been fueling people for centuries. And here's why they matter so much now. They're rich in plant-based protein, fiber, iron, and complex carbs that digest slowly, keeping your energy stable without the sugar crash. Plus, beans are central to nearly every longevity-focused diet across the globe, from Okinawa to Sardinia. They support heart health, reduce cancer risk, and help regulate blood sugar. If cooking them from scratch feels like too much, grab canned beans, just rinse them well to remove excess salt, and toss them into soups, salads, or stir-fries. Simple, nourishing, grounding. And speaking of grounding, let's take a moment to talk about something most people ignore until it's too late: processed foods and sugar. It might be hard to hear, but the truth is, excess sugar is quietly undermining your health. From brain fog and fatigue to inflammation and weight gain, sugar can sneak into everything: breads, sauces, even so-called healthy snacks. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive to these hidden enemies. That afternoon cookie habit might feel comforting, but it can disrupt your hormones, your sleep, and even your memory. The fix isn't perfection, it's awareness. Swap sugary treats for sweet fruits, or reach for a handful of berries and dark chocolate. Gradually, your taste buds adjust, and your body thanks you in the form of clearer thinking and steadier moods. Now, you might be wondering how all these foods actually connect to a longer, stronger life. And here's where it gets exciting. The key isn't just nutrients, it's autophagy. Don't worry about the word. It simply means your body's natural cleanup crew. It's how your cells get rid of waste, repair damage, and renew themselves. And foods like leafy greens, fermented goodies, and healthy fats from olive oil can all help trigger this healing process. When autophagy is active, it's like spring cleaning for your cells, helping you stay younger, longer, from the inside out. And the best part? These aren't exotic, expensive superfoods. They're accessible, familiar, and already sitting on your grocery shelf. What matters now is making them part of your rhythm. Not a fad, not a cleanse, but a lifestyle that works with your body, not against it. We've already covered some powerful steps, and you're doing amazing just by listening and thinking about making a shift. Because these aren't just food, they're investments in freedom. The freedom to stay active, sharp, and joyful in the years ahead. Let's keep that momentum going, because your body's been waiting for this kind of nourishment. There's something deeply comforting about routines that nourish us, like the familiar clink of a spoon against a breakfast bowl, or the quiet sizzle of dinner simmering on the stove. These small daily rituals can either work for us or slowly wear us down, depending on what we're putting into our bodies. And by now, you've likely felt the difference that certain foods make in your energy, your digestion, your mood. But one group we haven't fully explored yet deserves the spotlight, and that's whole grains. Not the bleached, fluffy white bread or sugar-packed cereal you'll find in the center aisles of the grocery store, but the hearty, fiber-rich kind that leaves you feeling satisfied and steady. Think oats, barley, quinoa, farro, and even brown rice. These grains are slow-burning fuels. They don't spike your blood sugar, and they help keep your gut bacteria happy. A critical piece of the longevity puzzle that's only recently begun to get the attention it deserves. See, after 60, our digestion often changes. Our gut lining becomes more sensitive, and our microbiome, the trillions of bacteria that influence everything from our immune system to our mood, needs more support than ever. Whole grains, especially when eaten with some healthy fat or protein, provide prebiotic fibers that act like fertilizer for those good bacteria. A bowl of warm, steel-cut oats in the morning, topped with ground flaxseed, and a few berries, can be more powerful than a multivitamin if you give your body the chance to use it well. Now, when we talk about supporting the gut and digestion, we can't skip fermented foods. These are the age-old staples like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, and even miso. Cultures around the world have relied on them not just for flavor, but for their life-giving properties. When you eat fermented foods, you're introducing beneficial bacteria directly into your system. bacteria that help digest food, absorb nutrients more effectively, and even calm inflammation in the body. And inflammation, left unchecked, is at the root of most age-related diseases from arthritis to Alzheimer's. You don't need to eat fermented foods with every meal, but adding a spoonful of sauerkraut to your lunch, enjoying a small cup of kefir in the afternoon, or using a little miso in your soup are easy ways to give your body a natural boost. Many seniors find that when they start including these foods regularly, bloating eases, energy improves, and even their skin begins to glow a little more. That's not vanity. It's biology working better. Let's pause here a moment, because as you're listening, you might already be picturing your next grocery list, or maybe one habit you could shift this week. That's the beauty of this. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. You don't have to throw out everything in your kitchen or overhaul your lifestyle overnight. You just need to begin, because when we choose foods that fuel healing instead of inflammation, that restore our cells instead of burdening them, we're making a declaration, not just that we want to live longer, but that we want to live better. Fully, joyfully, with minds that stay sharp and bodies that move with ease. This is the kind of change that doesn't happen in a hospital or with a prescription. It happens at your kitchen table, one bite at a time, one decision at a time, one step closer to the healthiest, most vibrant version of yourself. Let's keep going, because we're not just learning, we're transforming. And it starts with what's on our plate. You've probably noticed, the older we get, the more our bodies seem to whisper what they need, and sometimes they shout. A dull ache in the joints, slower healing, afternoon fatigue that creeps in even after a good night's sleep. These are not random. They're signals. And often they're asking for one very specific kind of fuel. Healthy fat, but not just any fat. I'm talking about the golden elixir that's been a staple in Mediterranean kitchens for centuries, olive oil. Not the cheap, highly refined stuff, but cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil that's deep green and slightly peppery. That's the kind of oil your body recognizes and welcomes. It coats the cells, protects your heart, feeds your brain, and reduces the silent inflammation that sneaks into our bones, blood vessels, and even our memory. A drizzle over steamed veggies, a spoonful whisked into salad dressing, or even a swirl over your soup just before serving. These aren't just ways to make food tastier. They're acts of longevity. And what's more, studies have shown that seniors who regularly consume olive oil have a lower risk of cognitive decline and heart disease. It's a small detail in your kitchen that carries massive impact over time. And speaking of tiny things with big benefits, let's talk about nuts and seeds. Just a handful a day, almonds, walnuts, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds can make all the difference. They're packed with healthy fats, protein, fiber, and minerals like magnesium and zinc that your body craves to stay balanced. Magnesium, for instance, supports muscle and nerve function and can even help you sleep more deeply. Zinc boosts immunity and helps wounds heal faster. What's wonderful about nuts and seeds is their flexibility. You can toss them into yogurt, blend them into smoothies, sprinkle them over roasted vegetables, or simply snack on them between meals. They don't require preparation or cooking, just intention. Choosing them instead of a processed granola bar or a sugary treat is one of those small swaps that adds up over the years, quietly defending your independence, one bite at a time. And this brings us to one of the most powerful foods in your pantry, beans and legumes. Humble, yes, but never underestimate the power of lentils, chickpeas, black beans, or kidney beans. These are rich in fiber, protein, B vitamins, and antioxidants that protect against disease and keep your metabolism humming. Beans support heart health, stabilize blood sugar, and help manage weight, all without costing a fortune or requiring hours in the kitchen. Many people avoid beans because they think they take too long to cook, or that they're heavy. But with modern options, like canned beans with no added salt or quick-cooking lentils, you can have a nutrient-dense meal in minutes. A warm lentil soup, a chickpea salad, or even a simple bean spread on toast can be satisfying, energizing, and protective. What's fascinating about beans and legumes is that they're a central part of every culture where people live the longest, places like Okinawa, Sardinia, and Costa Rica. In fact, some scientists believe they're the single most important dietary factor in extending life. Not supplements, not powders, not expensive treatments, just real food grown from the earth. Let that sink in, because sometimes we search for complicated answers when the simplest truths are right in front of us. Food is not just fuel. It's medicine, it's memory, it's the daily love note we send to our future selves. By now, you've probably noticed a pattern. Longevity doesn't come from expensive pills or rare ingredients from the other side of the world. It comes from simple, nourishing foods that our grandparents and their grandparents used to eat every day without thinking twice. But just as important as what we include is what we leave out. And that brings us to something most of us struggle with, especially in today's world where every checkout aisle, bakery window, and even health food label seems to tempt us with one thing: sugar. We're not talking about the natural sugar in fruit or a teaspoon of honey in your tea. We're talking about the excess, the added sugars and ultra-processed foods that sneak into cereals, yogurts, sauces, and even soups. It's not always about the sweets we choose, it's the sugar we didn't know was there. After 60, our metabolism doesn't work like it did in our 30s or 40s. Our insulin sensitivity declines, meaning sugar lingers longer in the bloodstream. That can quietly lead to fatigue, weight gain around the belly, cloudy thinking, and over time, serious issues like type 2 diabetes or heart disease. But here's the thing. Cutting back doesn't have to feel like punishment. It's not about never enjoying dessert again. It's about shifting how we view sweetness. Try replacing sugary snacks with a bowl of berries and a spoonful of nut butter. Reach for a square of dark chocolate instead of a candy bar. And when you do indulge, do it mindfully. Savor every bite instead of rushing through it. And the processed foods? Often they're loaded with sodium, unhealthy fats, preservatives, and additives that burden the body instead of fueling it. These convenience items often leave us hungrier, more tired, and more inflamed. When you swap a frozen dinner for a simple home-cooked meal, even something as basic as beans with olive oil and steamed greens, you're choosing clarity over fog, strength over sluggishness, life over slow decline. Now, if you've been listening and wondering, why do these foods work so well? Why is it that something as humble as a plate of legumes or a drizzle of olive oil can feel so powerful? The answer may lie in something you might not have heard of, but your body knows it deeply. It's called autophagy. Sounds fancy, but autophagy simply means self-eating. It's your body's natural housekeeping process. Every day, your cells accumulate damaged parts, broken proteins, dysfunctional mitochondria, waste that slows down performance. Autophagy is like a cleanup crew. It goes in, sweeps up the junk, recycles what it can, and gets rid of what it can't. When autophagy is working properly, you feel lighter, clearer, and more energetic. Your immune system works better. Your skin glows. Even your memory sharpens. The catch? Autophagy slows with age, but it can be nudged back into gear. How? Through fasting, movement, sleep, and yes, through the very foods we've been talking about. Leafy greens, fermented vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, olive oil. They don't just fuel the body, they support its natural repair systems. You're not just feeding your stomach. You're giving your cells the signal to clean house, rebuild, and protect you from the inside out. And over time, those signals shape how you age, how you move, how long you stay sharp and independent. It's not magic, it's biology. And you have the power to guide it with every meal, every bite, every choice. We still have a few more things to cover, and they tie all this together beautifully. If you've made it this far, then I want to pause for a moment and say thank you. Thank you for taking your health seriously. Thank you for believing, like I do, that aging doesn't have to mean decline. It can mean depth, strength, clarity. Even a quiet kind of power that comes from making steady, nourishing choices each day. You've already learned the essentials, the leafy greens that flood your body with vitamins and protect your eyes and brain, fermented foods that feed your gut and calm your mood, whole grains that give your heart steady, slow-burning energy, olive oil that reduces inflammation while making every bite taste like comfort, and nuts, seeds, beans, and legumes that provide the building blocks of strength, movement, and long life. You've also learned that the foods you leave out matter just as much. That steering clear of excess sugar and highly processed items gives your body the peace it needs to heal, repair, and regenerate. That tiny choices, a handful of almonds instead of chips, a drizzle of olive oil instead of creamy dressing. These choices whisper to your cells, let's live better. And now you've met autophagy, the gentle cleanup crew inside you that gets slower with age but never gives up. When you fuel it right, it returns the favor tenfold. Supporting autophagy isn't about chasing youth. It's about giving your body the tools to age with strength, clarity, and grace. This isn't about being perfect. You don't have to overhaul your pantry in a single day or eat salad at every meal. It's about consistency, small daily choices that stack up, that build a body and mind you can depend on well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond, that help you stay sharp for conversations with grandkids, strong enough to carry your own groceries, and joyful enough to keep doing the things that make life rich. It's never too late to start. Every meal is a new opportunity. Every step is progress. And every time you choose foods that serve your body rather than deplete it, you are quietly rewriting your future. If today's video resonated with you, I'd be honored if you gave it a like and shared it with someone you care about. Maybe a friend who's trying to eat better, a loved one who's been feeling sluggish, or someone who simply needs a reminder that they matter. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and ring that little bell so you never miss the life-changing health and lifestyle topics we've got lined up for you. Your support means more than you know, not just to me, but to this growing community of wise, resilient seniors choosing to live with purpose. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What small habit or food swap has made the biggest difference in how you feel day to day? What would you like help with next? Let's keep the conversation going. Because the road to health doesn't end at 60, it's just getting interesting. Here's to clean fuel, strong bodies, sharp minds, and joyful years ahead. Here's to living your best life at any age.